Well, why don't you play something for us, and then we'll talk about that coming out of the next song. I want to
Okay.
kind of touch
Sure.
on the songwriting stuff. What are you going to play for us next?
I'm going to play a song called Fabricated.
Okay. This is Rebekah Jean on Acoustic Songs Live.
I never gave you too much credit. It was like you just weren't real. It was like you were fabricated, trying to live out some ideal. Rich girl from a big old city. I never thought you were much fun. Always trying to cover up the pretty, like it make up for something people like your parents done. Yeah, it was like you were fabricated, just like a dream come true. Everything I was a bit of, well, he found the rest in you, and I bet you felt the same way, 'cause I rushed into your world, and I felt at home in just a few days, and I made you uncomfortable. I met a boy in red, we went both ways in hill country. We split up just before he found a better version of me. My ribbons and my pearls screwed up the work clothes. I was never as consistent as you are. Maybe you were meant to be the long-term partner, and I was meant to play the shows down at the bar. Fabricated, you were all his dreams come true.
Yeah, I love discovering new talent. You know, it's just so awesome. That's a great song.
Thanks.
Great. So I'll give people an idea of where they can find you. Your website is your MySpace page, right?
Yeah.
That's MySpace Belita Lambert, and it's BelitaLambert. I'm going to put all these links up on the acousticSongs.com website. You can also find you on Facebook at Miss Rebekah Jean, and Last.fm music/Rebekah Jean, and that's Rebekah Rebekah. I'll put all those links along with the video and everything up on the website. So, when did you start songwriting? When did you move from, listening to some of the influences that you had, and then make that transition?
Well, I always wrote little songs. I mean, that's not something where I was like, okay, I'm gonna be a songwriter. Like, I was a little kid writing songs for birthdays, like that weird girl that would write her friend a song for her birthday and sing it at over cake instead of bringing a present. And I remember the first time when my sister, my older sister, she's 5 years older than me, and she was a teenager, and she asked me to come help her write a song she was working on. And yeah, I think the first time that I wrote a song that actually was performed in public, I performed it for my high school graduation. And that was, I guess, the first kind of serious song that I wrote, and it was kind of on accident. And then I wrote a lot when I moved overseas after I graduated from high school, and lived in Europe for a year. And it was actually a really hard year for me. And I wrote lots and lots of songs while I was there. Songs that I don't play anymore at all because I think they're wretched. But I just wrote my way through that year. And then I came home and I started, my style kind of took a turn, I guess, because I was out at that time. But yeah, and then I'll play later a song that I wrote that kind of, I think, was the beginning of sort of the style that I play now. And it was, again, I just said I wanted to write a simple song. I wasn't going to try to make it funky or, edgy. And that was what came out, and that was probably the first song, like country song, that, that if you could call it country, that I wrote.
I was kind of a late comer to some of that music. I discovered Graham Parsons like maybe within the last couple of years. I wasn't really, and he kind of bridged the gap between rock and country a little bit. And but then like some of the classic stuff like Hank Williams and I just recently started digging into that only after recording the record with some people that were working in that genre, bluegrass and old time, and my family grew up. My maternal grandmother is from Grafton, West Virginia, and so I started digging into the roots of that, like the roots of my West Virginia roots, I guess, and the Appalachian stuff. Because growing up, there was just rock and roll on the radio, all the progressive stuff like Journey or not so even that Journey, but Kansas and Emerson, Lake and Palmer and all this like complex stuff. But I honestly like some of the best, huh?
That's all great stuff.
Yeah, but some of the best songs, like people like Guy Clark, and John Prine, and the simple songs that they write, are the best in my book. I mean, you can even just have 2 chords. You don't even need 3.
Yeah.
But I, lyrically and just, call it cry in your beer thing or whatever. I don't really even consider it to be that. I just consider it to be honest music, and I find I like listening to that a lot more nowadays.
Well, I think a lot of us come into an appreciation for that later, maybe because something has clicked with us where we're not looking to prove something anymore. We want not that the complex stuff is at fault. I love listening to Jackson Browne and some of the era that you were mentioning too.
Even like Dave Matthews Band.
Yeah.
Stuff.
But where we kind of want something that's a little more comfortable, but still, it's the honesty is what gives it the edge. I think. More than
when you listen to some of the alt country, early alt country like Sun Volt and some of that kind of stuff, where they talk about putting on the AM radio. I forget the name of that one particular song, but late night AM radio. I remember that, having that late night AM radio, and you're driving, or if you're driving somewhere, that's the only thing that you can actually get on the radio is AM radio, and you're driving down the highway and you pick up a radio